Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about my deadlifting and how I'm trying to work on my programming to continually to improve, to recover more optimally, and to be able to accumulate as much volume as I can without destroying my body in general, and also for my other lifts. I'm going to try this, break up this video into the various parts, the more specific topics that I talk about in relation to my deadlift. So let me know if you like that structure of the video and if it seems like it's more organized. You can also look down in the description for the different parts. I'll put timestamps if you want to see different specific parts that I am talking about. Something kind of new that I've been messing around with, but I think it'll help me personally stay more organized when I'm talking, but it'll help my videos seem more organized and allow you to kind of get to different parts of the video that you want to see. Without having to randomly click through the video to try to get to a specific part. So let me know what you think about that down below, of course after watching the entire beautiful video. The first part that I want to talk about is my grip and how I'm working on that. Now if you're someone that uses the mixed grip, which is pretty common, what I'm talking about is going to be pretty useless for you. But I use the hook grip because that's much easier for me to do, because I don't have to depend on my just raw grip strength quite as much, and it has a great carryover to Olympic lifts as well. But I only started doing it because my grip sucked, because I saw George Lehman talk about it and I was like, oh, my grip sucks as well, so let's give that a whirl. But as far as the hook grip goes, I don't have to do too much direct grip training, which is very nice to do. But what I try to do throughout the week is to incorporate the hook grip as much as I can without killing my thumbs. It's not so much that I can't deal with the pain per se, because it kind of hurts about the same, and it isn't horrible. But if I use it a whole bunch now, essentially just my thumbs just get tore up and the skin gets tore up, and I don't want to rip a callus or do anything like that. And what I find is that it's not like my grip gets that much better or worse if I do it a lot or don't do it a lot. So I end up using straps a lot, but I try to incorporate the hook grip with the lighter movements more, or if I do a heavy single with that, for instance the last week it was like 515 that I did for a triple. I did the first rep with hook grip and then I switched to straps for the other two. So I try to incorporate the heavy single aspects of it, because at no point in my actual training am I going to have to do multiple reps with a hook grip. So there's not really a point for me to train that. If I can do a single with that weight, then I'm not really worried about it. My grip hasn't been, since I learned the hook grip, I haven't been worried too much about it other than maintaining it, because even I think back in the spring and April when I did my first meet, I was able to hold 611 pounds, which is over my 1 rep max, without any issues. It was my body that failed and it wasn't my grip. So it isn't something that I'm particularly worried about, because it's more of just once you have the technique, then you're generally pretty good to go with the weight. But what I have been trying to do to work on not so much the grip itself, but how I tie myself into the bar, is what I do when my hands are hooked grip in, because I have noticed that there's a difference when I'm using straps and the hook grip as far as how good that first rep feels, particularly when I first start. And what I have found is that when I use straps, I'm able to lock my lats in a lot more, and when I use a hook grip, I focus on my hands a lot more, as it would seem to make sense. But what I found in the last couple of training sessions is that if I get my hands locked in like I need them to be, but really focus on my lats like if I'm using straps, I find that I kind of get the benefit even more so of the hook grip, because I'm not thinking directly about it, so it seems like I'm more secure in the bar. And I'm also tighter when I first start, so it's a little bit easier to come off the floor with that, especially when I'm using the hook grip. So there isn't as much of a difference between the hook grip and the straps as far as my rep speed and form goes with that. So that's something I've been working on, and it's not so much related to my grip strength, but more so to how I use the hook grip technique. And I think a lot of that's just as I practice the hook grip more, I get more comfortable with it, and that's something I recommend for anyone trying to learn the hook grip, is just to do it a whole bunch, not necessarily like high reps, but to do a lot of singles and really focus on optimizing your form, and focus on when you use straps how that feels, and then focus on the hook grip and trying to get that to be a similar feeling, because generally, at least for me, I don't think about my grip at all when I'm using straps, obviously, because you're in, you don't have to worry about it. And that's what I want to get more so with the hook grip, is not thinking about my grip so much, but make sure my hands are in the right position, and then just getting my back locked in, and then just ripping the bar off the ground as quickly as I can. and going about it that way. So hopefully that's a little bit helpful to someone. I know a lot of people don't use a hook grip because it's painful, and it is painful, but hopefully that makes sense for someone. But I still think I will end this part here, that grip training itself is important, and it's going to help your hook grip if your hand's stronger. So it's something I still do a little bit. I try to do some double overhand stuff with the lighter weights that I use, and maybe some forearm stuff as well, but I don't do a ton of it, but I still do some of it because I think it is something that is important, because it's only good if having a stronger grip's only going to make your hook grip better, and that's kind of my philosophy on that whole thing. But yeah. In this part of the video, I want to talk about the volume that I'm trying to get in with my deadlift. And I treat my deadlift like all my lifting. I want to get as much volume in during the week as I possibly can while remaining healthy and not sacrificing form, and while trying to continually progress, which should be the goal for anyone trying to program any sort of lifting stuff that they're trying to do in general. But what I try to do with my deadlifts is to be a lot more nuanced with what I'm doing, because before it was just I try to do as many times during the week, and if my back hurts I do it less. You know, it was very simplistic what I was trying to do. I didn't really have the nuance that I have, or at least I try to have now, with what my volume is. So right now I try to have one day a week where I work to a heavy-ish set, and it's not necessarily like a heavy single. It could be a heavy triple, or it could be a heavy, 3 sets of 3, but it's like a heavier set. And then I have back down sets, and on different days I try to do more sets or less sets, or more weight or less weight, and I allow my body to kind of dictate how much I push myself on the different days. If my back is really, really tight, I still want to deadlift, but I just don't do as much. And I try to treat my body nicer, because in the past I would just kind of say, my back kind of hurts, I'm just going to continue to lift. And it didn't actually really affect my performance that much when I was training, which kind of led me into a bad cycle where I was just kind of continually sore, but my performance wasn't affected. I was just always sore, and I don't really like that just from just a general life aspect. So I try to pay attention more to that. And I do think it's actually helped me perform more optimally in my workouts. I have said it didn't affect my performance in the past, but I do feel like I feel fresher in between workouts and recovering from my other lifts a lot more when I focus on how my back is feeling, or just how my body is feeling in general, and trying to move as much weight as I can optimally with good form without that much pain. Obviously you're still going to be sore from lifting, because you're lifting weights, your muscles are going to get sore, but not being in constant pain all the time because you refuse to stop deadlifting. And I try to do that by mixing up the sets, mixing up the weights, and not pushing myself on some days, and on some days pushing myself more. But one of the issues I do have with my volume is that I'm not willing, when I write something down, I try to do that weight. Like if I write 515 pounds down, I try to do 515 pounds. But now I'm trying to focus on how it feels as I'm moving up, and if I have a day where my goal is 515 pounds and I get to 485 and it's moving like complete garbage, well then I'll just stop there and move down, and then I try to attack it on a different day. So I kind of allow my body to dictate what I do, but at the same time trying to get as much volume in as I can. So I could be doing a deadlift movement 3 or 4 times a week, or 2 or 3 times a week, or 1 time a week. It really depends on how my body's feeling and how my other training sessions go. If I feel really good, I try to do as much as I can. If it feels really bad, then I do less. So I try to listen to my body more, and that may not be the most scientific way, but I think it allows me to be more nuanced in how I'm trying to program the amount of volume that I do in deadlifts. And I think it's, at least so far, it's helped because I feel fresher going into my workouts, and my deadlifts seem to be feeling better, and I feel more motivated to go in, and like I got sumos today, or I got back extensions today. I feel more motivated to go in and attack those versus like my back's really sore and I have to hit 505 pounds, like this is gonna suck, and then having to kill myself through it. I'm able to go and attack whatever I have to do. So if hopefully that made a little bit of sense to someone, but yeah, that's as far as my deadlifting volume goes. And the last thing in this video that I want to talk about is the variations that I'm trying to do in the deadlifts. In the previous part, I kind of mentioned a little bit at the very end about some of the different variations that I focus on. But one of the ways that I think helps me to recover more optimally is to focus on pushing myself in the different variations. So I may only be doing a conventional deadlift with my favorite, what I think is my most optimal form, conventional, close grip, or whatever with that. I do that maybe once a week, but then the other times I'll do a sumo deadlift session. I may do a snatch grip deadlift sessions. I may just do a session where it's all Olympic lifting, so that's my deadlift type lift for that day, or I may do a back extension. So I'm doing a deadlift type movement a lot of the times during the week, but I'm not just doing conventional deadlifts every single 4 times a week or whatever when I'm working out, but I'm trying to work around what my body may normally say, like that's enough, back's really sore, in order to get more deadlift type volume in and to progress in my deadlifts without having to kill my back so much. It isn't so much that I don't want a conventional deadlift all the time. Usually my conventional deadlift feels pretty good, but I want to be able to recover and to just continually be able to push myself in the different lifts. And I think that variations will help more because it will allow me to push my body in different ways. Like if I'm doing a snatch grip deadlift, I have to use my back a lot more to move that. If I'm doing a deficit, you have to get lower with that. With a block pull, you work from a higher point. With Olympic lifts, I'm able to go through a deadlift type movement, but I'm using lighter weights, so I'm working on kind of more or less, I guess, speed type movements. But with that, I have a high frequency because I'm in the gym a lot, so I'm able to do a lot of these variations without having to like go in and just do one thing. I'm able to include in my workouts. So it has the benefit of giving me that more variation, and I'm able to more quickly add this or incorporate it into my workouts. And what I mean by that is if I have to do back extensions, the most I've done with that I think is like 275. But I only go to 275. If I'm doing a conventional deadlift, in order to get a weight that's kind of hard, I'm going to the mid 400s at least, and that's going to take a while to warm up to that weight. But if I'm doing back extensions, or if I'm doing a snatch grip deadlift, or I'm doing a deficit or something, I can only go up so high with that weight. It's like if I'm doing Olympic lifts, I can only go up so high, and then I'm at my working weight for that day. So it allows me to more quickly work out, and I think that helps me to recover better because I'm not pushing my body so hard every time I go and do a deadlift type movement. I'm doing the variations more at a lighter weight, so I'm able to go through the deadlift movements, and I'm able to not just destroy my back every time I go in. So I'm getting that work in, and I'm able to accumulate a lot of volume in different and unique ways without just doing conventional, which is what I would do in the past. I would just continually push that, and it works to an extent. It would probably still work a little bit. I just would be sore a lot, and I don't like being sore a lot, and I don't think that's an optimal way to train if you're just always sore and or in pain. I want to kind of work around that while kind of that balance with deadlifts and all my lifts is to accumulate as much volume as I can while trying to recover as much as I can, and kind of finding that balance more so than I did in the past, and listening to my body more and not just attacking it with saying if I can do this, I should be able to do this, and I don't care how my body feels, I'm just going to do this weight because then I'll be stronger, and attacking it kind of in that overly simplistic way. I'm trying to be more complex with it, and I think if there's anything you should get from this video is to when you're programming, whether it's deadlifts or anything, is to think about how you can continually to progress forward without breaking down your body. And that's kind of the fight, because your body wants to break down the more that you do. But if you're able to manipulate the different things that you do, as far as sets that you do, the weight that you do, the amount of reps that you do, or the variations of the exercises that you do, you're able to trick your body, or you're able to more optimally perform on a weekly basis, and able to continually to progress. So you're able to not be as sore all the time. You're able to lift continually, so that's going to be beneficial anyway. And you're able to just to be more recovered on a daily basis. So even if you're not at the gym, you don't feel like garbage. Your back doesn't feel sore all the time and all that stuff all the time. You're just able to live a better life if you're not in pain all the time or extremely sore, either or. But yeah, that's really about it that I have to talk about as far as my deadlifting my deadlifting thoughts go. Let me know what you think down below as far as that. And if you have any questions regarding what I talked about, if something I said didn't make sense, please let me know, and I'll try to clarify myself or to give you any recommendations that I may have as far as what you may think what you're trying to do, because as far as everyone goes, all their deadlift type stuff varies a ton, because some people don't deadlift as much weight, some people deadlift a lot more weight than in relation to how much they squat or do different leg exercises. So how different people program what they do in deadlifts is a lot different, because if your squat and deadlift are pretty close, you can probably do a lot more deadlift stuff than someone like me who's deadlifts a lot more than their squat. Anywho, I'll stop the video here. So like I said, let me know what you think down below, and hopefully I haven't rambled on for two more. And yeah, that's really about it. So as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.